right? You actually want to see this information. This is what's going on in your org. Everything reactively can hurt you from here.
Movers, right? Repeating the same mistake over and over again. You're like, why do you just keep coming back with the same damage, the same issues over and over? Welcome back to another episode of Movified. I'm your host, Mark Hirschi, owner of Salmon's Moving and Stores, located in beautiful Vancouver, British Columbia. And it is Movified Wednesdays with Stephen Reed. What is going on, Stephen?
How's it going? Exciting week, man. It's crazy. It's already been a week. Flying by fast.
It flies by fast. It flies by so fast. And this is why we have those episodes about balancing acts. I look at, this is the problem sometimes, and everybody can probably relate to it in the moving industry. We as owners, we heavily try and plan our schedule. Like, we do our best in making sure that, our schedule, this is what we need to get done today. This is how it's got to work out. And you think you show up to the office and the whole day changes. The whole day changes.
You don't know where the
my day. It's wild. My day today went from test driving electric moving trucks at a racetrack. I was super jazzed, super pumped, to going out to join a group of my guys move a $3 million custom piano down several flights of stairs into this amazing customer's home who owns several pianos. And we've been there a dozen times, but just to watch the experience sometimes when we go out with our guys, but then your whole morning is like just shot. Like, you look back and you're like, I had so many things on my plate. Everything has shifted. Everything has changed, and a lot for the good.
Yeah, you had
always try and look at
a great experience, I'm sure, too, moving that piano. I mean, that was
100%. I mean, I wish they would allow us to really film the piano, but I got some great footage of how our team operates when it comes to moving this piano down several flights of stairs, and how to maneuver it, and utilizing ramps, utilizing your dollies, just utilizing your crew in the right areas. And that to me was just amazing to watch. So our guys, shout out to the guys at Salmon's, because they know exactly what they're doing, and they're heavily trusted by the teams that hire them all the time, by the company. So
it's amazing.
And
it's amazing what you do in pianos. Some of the stories, some of the pictures that I've seen, I don't have that opportunity, and that's such a crazy, beautiful world of moving that I'm fascinating in. So really, really cool what you do, and inspiring what you do with pianos.
Yeah, it's beautiful. But this really just kind of leads into like what we want to talk about today, because what we try and do as company owners, and you see it a lot, this is what happens a lot in sports. And this is the beautiful thing about social media. This is the beautiful thing about having the ability to record, take notes. I bet you if you rewind the tape a year ago or 100 years ago, you had someone that took notes, right? This is how people documented what was happening in society. This is how we have history books. This is what's going on. Someone sat there documenting this event. And a lot of people read those events to go, hey, okay, well, this worked. This didn't work. We look back, and I can now sit down with my team and say, okay, now let's watch back how we moved this piano. What did we do right? What did we do wrong? How can we make this more of a smoother situation than it always being sloppy? And that's why you see so many sports teams today. They'll sit down with their team the next day, rewatch the whole game. Watch those pinpoints. Watch what's going on, right? And that's how great teams excel. That's how the elite teams make it happen, right? Because they get in there, they fix it fast, they make sure it doesn't happen again, or at least they do their best, and they try and correct those mistakes. You do this a lot at Big League Movers.
That's right. So Big League Movers, we do a game tape review. I used to call it a red light, green light, right? But it's seen so much as like the owner. I don't know why it's such a valuable trait, right? That you and I have, Mark. It's hard for all of us to duplicate. It's something that everybody calls confrontation, like it's a bad word, right? And we have to adjust, is what I really call it. We're correcting what happened in the past to change a behavior, and we just have to adjust. So everybody avoids. I kept using this red light, green light, call somebody out was the common term at my organization. Like, wait a minute, we're not calling anybody out. So one of the things that I put together is, well, it's simple, right? What's a positive way to look at it? And Mark, you know me, I'm a big dummy that hyper focused on sports, right? And so I go back to what I learned in sports a lot. On a positive note, win or lose, what do? You're checking the game tape, right? You're reviewing yourself to see what you could do and maneuver to do better on the next opponent. It's not a negative thing. You don't want to get called out by the coach, but it's going to happen. It makes you better and you realize it, right? And so to get rid of that stigma of this, hey, this is confrontational, or that's Steve's, that's the owner's job to be like that. We set that in the culture. We want to call it the game tape review.
Are you a mover looking to make an impact? Discover Moving Letters AI and join the ML Plus Club today. Elevate your customer engagement with the personal touch of handwritten letters.
If you want to take your company to that next level, it's the only way to subscribe. If you're doing anything but Moving Letters AI, you need to get on it. So it's going to take your business to that next level. You're going to see an increase in that revenue. Let's go.
I highly recommend using this company. They're amazing to work with. They even send you an email on how much work they're producing for you.
Don't miss out. Join the revolution and start making moves that matter.
Put a golden damn ticket in there with Moving Letters AI.
If you're considering Snowball, just do it.
Snowball creates done-for-you referral programs for moving companies so you can turn happy customers into new revenue without lifting a finger. And the results speak for themselves.
In less than a year, we've collected over 2,000 referrals.
We generated over $200,000 of revenue that cost about $5,000 to do it.
I believe we had 4 or 5 the very first day.
The companies winning with Snowball are the ones that already care about their customers. We just help turn that into new business through human outreach and customer nurturing.
Snowball is part of the arsenal of tools that I recommend to my clients because it works.
Because it's reviewing the film.
Let's run this through because there's so many things that are flashing through my head. I'm thinking, okay, does Big League Movers is very big brother? Everywhere you look, there's like a videotape. It's like a whole TV show of just filming people, and then you have someone in the back room reviewing everything. You know, oh, there goes Mr. Haas, right? He's up to no good, right? So,
yep. Shout out Haas, we're watching you. He knows we're watching you.
We're watching you, buddy. So when we look at this, right, you got people listening, going, okay, Steven, like I get this. You know, we do this. But give me like that starting process, like in what areas are you actually making this game day review? Like,
yeah, so like every day we have our VA team, as you know, our ready roles assist us in all of our departments. So we have 2 dispatchers that are in the Philippines, right? We have Rain and we have Floji, and all day, every day, they're checking jobs as they go. They're doing closeouts. And after a closeout, they send a summary of that closeout. Right. And I took all these weird owner things in my head that I look at when I see that closeout information. Right. And I put it as part of what they check to then call it a misplay and bring it up for review.
What does that look like? Sorry, I know you're always in your thought, but I'm going to always try and stop you so you don't go on tangent. What does that look like for that closeout? What are they looking at? You use Smart Moving, correct?
Yeah, we use Smart Moving, but we're taking this out and we're putting it in Slack. I did this as part of a scaling thing. I wanted to know when customers have anything less than a 5-star experience so I could call it no matter where I was at. Right. So when I was a little bit, had a little lesser scale, I had VAs bring to me, hey, every job that you close out, no matter what time, text it to me. Right. And it had all this information that I wanted to see, the time in, right, the time out, build time versus time we were there on Motive. I use Motive as far as my GPS. So we're looking at build time versus how long we were there. We're looking at build time versus how long we're there. If we were there less than 4 hours, why did we take a break? Right. We're looking at all these different root causes. We're looking at if we had a discount, was it an operational discount, a sales discount, or a marketing discount?
We are now looking at your 2 VAs They have access to your Motive account. They have access to your Smart Moving.
Oh, yeah.
Are they handling, just to understand the process of your move from start to finish? Your salespeople obviously put the jobs in. They're all in there, and the job is set. It gets dispatched out. The crew goes, completes the job. They're entering the hours that they worked. And then are they also collecting payment and charging the card, your crew?
Yes.
Or is it the VAs that are doing that?
We use a software that you can send a text and the customer can fill out a card, but we talk to every customer at the end. We're like Disney in the fact that we're reminding customers of 5-star service to let us know anything. So they're doing a mid-move check-in. They're checking to make sure our contracts are signed. Yeah, the VAs are. So pretty much their responsibility is, when that truck leaves the lot. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm just no. Keep going. So the job starts at 9 o'clock. Crew arrives on site. They're on site.
They've already audited if that truck was on their GPS or not. They've already audited the pre-trip photos that we do in Connect Team to make sure the truck's clean, right? And they're auditing also if we needed to go to the gas station, and if not, if we were there longer than 20 minutes, because there's no good things that can happen if we're hanging out at a gas station, right? And so they're already looking at those things before 9 o'clock.
So the VAs have checked this all out. The crew is there on site. They've started the job. They're halfway through. 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock comes around. The job's estimated for, let's say, 6 hours. Is the VA then calling the customer? Hi, Mrs. Jones. Just wanted to check in to see how your move's going.
Bingo.
Is there anything that we need?
I'm going to go ahead and go on too. At 9:30, right, we've instilled this. We're checking to see if they've done a live stream walkthrough just for pre-existing damages, and the contract was signed. So that's the next step they're checking out. Anything that's out of bounds.
Whoa. Live stream walkthrough.
Yeah, the pre-existing live stream walkthrough that we just put in place.
What is this? It's
a video link that your drivers can have that have their own custom kind of instruction to walk through a home that saves back to your job. So when there's a claim, we can verify that past to make sure it wasn't pre-existing, if you will.
What are you using? What kind of program are you using for this?
Live stream.
Oh, okay. So you're using live stream as part of that, and they will go do the walkthrough. It uploads then up to the like a cloud system.
Yeah, that's their cloud.
Checks that as well too.
It links to the job, if you will, in our software. So that's something that we're working on that side. But that's what we just put in place. We're going to do a walkthrough instead of pictures we did in Connect Team. We're wanting to go ahead and just do that walkthrough live, so it's easier for the guys on camera.
Okay, love that.
So yeah, they're checking that, and they're checking. More importantly, they're checking the to make sure the contract was signed, because we don't want anybody not saying they understood the bill at the end of it.
When that part's done, you have a VA check-in halfway through. If a customer has issues, where does it go from there?
Escalate up. So VA team's going to escalate to our operations manager. We're probably going to spot check it on that side. We're probably going to go out there and go into service recovery, as we call it.
Okay. Customer is happy. Everything's going fine. No issues. They just resume.
They're reminding us as soon as there's anything that doesn't go the same way, or is anything that goes less than 5-star service, please let me know. So we want to let them know we can't change what we don't know, but we can change a lot. So call me back if you receive anything you don't like about the rest of the day. Do you have any questions? So we're kind of adding that step.
Job finishes at, let's say, 2 o'clock. Are the VAs alerted when that job is completed, or are they just checking in?
So yeah, our guys they'll call them. So we have a dispatch number where if they're on the line, our VAs, it goes to operations, right? But yeah, our guys have to close out every job with us. So we review the billing, right? We're asking them then we're looking on Google, our VAs are, if there's already a 5-star review, and we remind them, hey, the customer didn't leave one, were we able to do trigger words? What's going on? And then we go close out with the customer. So we're walking through every charge and making sure I get that feedback. Live feedback is the key for me.
Being found on the second page of Google is literally like having a billboard in the middle of the desert. Your mama ain't gonna see it. No one's gonna see it. You're on the second page of Google. No one's gonna call. No one's gonna book. Here is the deal. If your business is not ranking on the top of Google, That means your competitors are going to be stealing your customers every single day. So at Rotate Digital, we don't play any guessing games. We use data-driven SEO strategies to make sure Google finds you first so that these Google searches turn into your customers, not your competitors' customers. How do we do it? We do it through AI-driven keyword optimization, exclusive blog networks, backlinking strategies, and honestly, the secret stuff, the proprietary lead attribution software. So what do you get as a result? You get not only good marketing, but now you get clarity into what is bringing you more revenue. So if that's something you want to do, you want to make sure your leads find you and not your competition, go ahead and go to rotatedigital.com, schedule a call, and we'll help you take your business to the top of Google.
We recently hired Ready Rolls to help us with hiring some offshore help, some VAs, and they've done an amazing job. They found the perfect candidate for our company to fill the right role for our company. And not only that, they helped answer any questions that we had about the process. Initially, hiring a VA can be a bit intimidating, but they answered all the questions. It's been an amazing experience. Our VA has been a huge part of our success thus far. We're actually in the process of hiring a few more right now. Definitely see them as being a key part of our growth and reaching our goals in 2025 and beyond. So, the game changer for our company, I'm confident will be a game changer for you as well.
Visit readyrolls.com. There is now a better way to scale.
Do you ever get some kickback from the guys that are saying, look, I closed out at 2:00, but then I had to sit down, or I had to sit on the phone call for another 10, 15 minutes. I'm dealing with dispatch. I'm trying to close up the bill, but the next thing you know, I'm not even out of here until 2:30, and I'm not really getting paid for that extra half an hour of time that I'm dealing with the customer and phony dispatch and stuff. I just want to be able to close up the bill. I want to get going. I want to get out of here.
Yeah. I mean, we get it a little bit, but not too much. I think we talk about it in the culture. That's it's part of the service that we're doing is the beginning and end. It's just like a restaurant, right? So you really, really want to not ruin the whole service on the close, right? And that's what we all worked hard for. So we just kind of emphasize that part of the process. I'm sure there is. I'm sure Jeff in operations would tell you, yeah, he's crazy. I get that a lot more, but as the owner, I have it. And when I put it in place and I was running operations, I didn't have too much of that backlash.
Gotcha. Okay, I like that.
Yeah, we're closing out, and then we send a message to everybody. It's a Slack group that says closeouts. It used to be a text to me when it started, right? Then it was a Connect team. Then now it's a Slack where it goes to the right parties and everybody sees it, and they have the notifications always on for these. And it's real live feedback, right? We're finding out right then, is there a 5-star review? We're doing those audit hours and we're calling it out. And then when the truck's on the way back, we have some coaching items just to talk about when we go greet them at the truck to check it in. So we're already kind of getting ahead on.
Who's greeting them?
That's our assistant operations manager. He comes in the PM. So it's escalations. And, I invest a lot of money in this game tape review, going ahead and plugging the holes. Because I'll say this in moving, this has always been my philosophy and where I've always been beat up and recur. Right. And moving every day, we deal with no other. I mean, there's a few other industries, let's say emergency rooms and stuff like that. But just like you said, how you thought your day was going to start and how it ended. Right. We deal with so many different things. Right. And uncontrollables, especially people's schedule, where there's so many uncontrollables that happen when we go into a moving day. We just want to make sure every day we expect 20% to be something that we have to work on, right? But where we get beat up in this moving industry is we don't work on that 20% every day, and that 20% becomes 30%, which becomes 35%, which becomes 40%, and those uncontrollables then beat us up as owners, right? And so that's where my big philosophy is: how can I get ahead? How can I make sure my team every day is working on that 20% like I have? And so kind of taking my head, putting out what I look for in this list, I built the game tape review system for my VAs to be able to audit this and call out that 20% and make sure our team is knocking it out on the ground.
Well, and I can totally see why something like this is definitely necessary. I took down some notes. I mean, when I think of having these game day playbacks, we're thinking, obviously I'm worrying about claims. right? So having something like this to figure out the claims, especially when there's like no root cause behind it, like it doesn't make any sense.
Doesn't make any sense. But start times and finish times, so much of our money's in that, right? So much of our money is given away by movers to get that tip, right? So you got to watch that and just make sure people know that you're watching. You know that too. There might be an answer almost every time when you're asking these things, but you just asking these things to the movers lets them know you're watching, right? Which is a big thing.
Well, I remember a long time ago, you know, I used to have a driver that worked for us, and the swampers used to complain saying, "Hey, listen, you know, John here is clocking out at 2:00. We didn't finish till 2:30. I heard him tell the customer, look, we'll just take a half an hour off the bill.
Bingo.
Why don't you just make up the difference in a tip?"
Yeah, that happens all the time if you're not watching it. That's
Customer's happy. Now they walk away with a $50 tip each, and he saved himself probably another $100.
That's right. That's right. We also check like,
crazy.
hey, we sold, you know, this amount of materials, this amount of wardrobes, this amount of TV bags, mattress bags, and we're docking. They're pulling out, hey, we only used half of these. Do we need to work with him? Is there a trend here that we need to work with him on how to sell? Like, are you telling customers that you don't need mattress bags? Right? Do you know that we're selling mattress bags for box springs too? You know, those kind of things are where we find these continuous gaps that 20% that we can educate through this way.
Yeah, I agree. I also think of, you know, we kind of are on the same topic here with sales reps that are giving discounts, no follow-up to let us know why there was a discount. Jobs that go over hours, you know, they're estimated as
2 hour estimate variances.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Those 2 hours difference. Movers, right? Repeating the same mistake over and over again. You're like, why do you just keep coming back with the same damage, the same issues over and over?
And we're setting tasks from it too to say, hey, who's the affiliate? And let's thank them. Right? Who is that realtor? Let's give them an update. Let's tag that sales guy. I mean, these are all things that work on that 20% to better the company, in my eyes, on like the game tape, if you will. And as an owner, goodness, man, we get so much insight on how our operation's doing by looking at the closeout. That's the final piece of art that we work for. And we are blessed in the moving industry to get that every day. Where can we work on this? This is a whole front to beginning. Where were we off in the process? Right.
What does that look like then? So your VAs have done the closeout. You said everybody gets to know the job's done. They finished at 2:00. You're given all the information. They gave a 5-star review. Everything seemed to go great, except that you noticed that maybe, I don't know, they took 2 breaks in between that job, and they really probably wasn't necessary for it. And you give this back. Is the VA putting together like some type of report? Because obviously,
bingo, yeah, they're putting back a game.
We're thinking of a video, right? So like, let's clarify those that are listening and watching. They're not, you know, video recording this.
No.
They're sending you back some type of document that has like the breakdown of what's happening, or what does that look like?
Yeah, it's that Slack message that has a closeout, right? That's how we look at it. And then the closing dispatcher, right? FlowGC sends an update that says and the sales manager does it on the other side, not inside sales manager VA. But we break down anything that went out of the lines in those categories of the closeout text that I put, right? And the next day, they have a playbook for the next VA and the operations team to have an awareness meeting after dispatch that talks about those things that happened in dispatch and those things that happened on the 20% we need to put task in. And we use an app. There's a lot of them out there. You can use Google if you're a Google user. Right, but we use a task app called Todoist. I think a lot of people know that listen to this, but we're really on Todoist, and we putting those tasks in to fix those 20% or ask questions to make sure all of our guys are aligned on us moving forward. So that's kind of how we do the game tape review. We watch the tape. Somebody watches the tape for us in theory, right? Looking at all the what could be misplays. Right, and those misplays are brought to the team in a playbook to discuss after dispatch and give out tasks from.
We obviously think, you know, when someone's listening to this or watching, going, but Steven, you know, we have the movers and we have the sales. Maybe we even have the admin team. Maybe we have a logistics division. Who's like, when you're doing the breakdowns, let's just use 2 for example. You got like an operations, maybe game tape review. You have a sales game tape review. Who's handling both, and how does that look like? Like, what's that breakdown?
So it's it's who's closing, who's doing my answering service that breaks down all the jobs on the sales side to get the sales meeting prepped for their meeting in the morning that has those call outs. And then there's the on the operations side, it's the dispatcher who sets it up for the VA in the morning to go over with Jeff, the operations manager, and the rest of the dispatch team. And I can go over kind of the topics of that awareness meeting in there as well.
And what does that daily awareness meeting look like?
Yeah, so a daily awareness meeting, I'll pull up the kind of cadence we have on there. But one, we're talking about, so whoever's the pusher's talking about if there's any truck damage or any guys had any HR things, right? And then so we're tackling what's on our mind at dispatch. And then so another station's reporting if they had any uniforms they had to give away or tool bags. Right. And so we're keeping those things top of mind before we go to yesterday to kind of put those elements in there. You got the who's in the dugout, who's kind of leading a motivational speech. Who are 3 people that were affected by this? Who didn't you feel like listen? Because there's tasks that come with that. Right. And then we go into the awareness meeting where we're there to coach proactively, catch patterns, ensure that we're working on these misplays. Right. And the person leading that is Jason Haas, which who's kind of being groomed to be the head of operations, right? So he's in the know. As an owner, that was me for a lot of years because I was in the know of everything. Everything's brought to me, and guess what? I'm in control. I'm divvying it out. I'm saying this is how we handle that. I need to call this claims customer. I need to do this. I need to do that. So that's kind of how it is. It's a real positive meeting. You get in there, we're straight business. You have everybody there that's involved in operations, and the EAs are in that meeting. It's 20, 30 minutes, 30 minutes. If it's peak season, it gets a little bit longer. We're looking at staff availability and staffing gaps. Right. So that's the first topic we're talking about every day. We're talking about bonus lists, any staff late, uniform compliance, kind of like we talked about. We talked about what we call the misplays. So what happened from our queues that our VA team calls me from closeout? Who owns it? Is it already resolved or in progress? If not resolved, what's the due date and plan? That's what Jason's picking, and the VA's bringing that to him.
What's up, guys? Austin Yarbrough here, and this is your invitation to the Movers and Shakers event, April 28th, April 29th. I'm putting in the work right now so you can have the best event of your life. It's going to be life-changing. It's going to be amazing. And I'm just going to be there to help, and you're going to join the new family. This next family is here for you, and you're going to be here for them. April 28th, April 29th. Get your tickets. Let's go.
Is this a pattern? Right. And then we're going over coaching opportunities. So he's saying, okay, George, you're going to go to this spot check where there's 3 of those movers today. And David, you're going to check these guys in and talk to them about this. So we're talking about our coaching things. So what were our late starts? What were our claims? What were our materials issues? Right? What were our conduct issues? And those are what we're trying to react to in the next 48 hours. So before it gets contagious. Then we review the mover tip of the week. Just remind everybody to keep solid on the mover tip of the week. I talked about the spot check plan and any escalated customers. Couple more topics, multi-move days. Are they happy? Is it going to plan? And is there any inbound or outbounds coming? And the last thing is all of our dispatch positions filled, or do we need a guest? Do we need Steve to come in the dugout? Do we need Elaine to come in the dugout? And that's our awareness meeting. We get back to the job, and that's kind of what we're executing on the day, amongst our other things on that side. On the sales side, we're looking at estimate variance. We're looking for discounts. And that's really what it is. We find that a lot of those things that are off that hit, and and the move doesn't go for plan to perfect, the higher range of it, like 7 out of 10 times range, right, it goes back to the initial call. How was this set up on the move? So your sales guy still has a lot of control out of the performance of that move. So besides claims that the customers are in any way dissatisfied, we're finding oftentimes it goes back to that original sales call and setting up that expectation well.
Gotcha. And I can assume that, you know, by doing this and having this type of implementation, both ops and sales are just going to run faster.
Yeah.
And fix faster.
So a missing customer review, right? That's going to trigger a task for somebody to check in with the customer. Not that it's a bad thing, not that we're going to ask for a review again, but was the customer not wanting to do it while 2 movers were in their kitchen? Right? We hit that a signal just to make sure everything's good and okay on that side. Late start, man, you can solve a lot of problems by figuring out the stuff that starts. So we have a signal, our window's 8 to 10, right? When any job's outside of 8:30, I find a lot of problems here. We audit it. What's the reason? Okay, this person's late. Is there a trend here? But oftentimes you'll find out things like, wait a minute, what do you mean their GPS was off and they went far away? That's what you need to be working on, because that's risk and money. And that's the first impression of your moving company to the customer. So those are bigger deals than like guys being a little bit behind. You're looking for those, wait a minute, my truck went somewhere else and then called the customer loss. Right. So you find out a lot of things by asking more questions on that after 8:30 trigger. It could be they hung out at the gas station for a long time, but that's kind of how we audit those things secondary, right? A lot of times you'll get the right answer again, but you'll let the movers know you're looking, and that's what keeps things moving forward. Claims, obviously, there's a process. That's a big red flag when there's a claim on a job. Your billable versus your on-site gap, that's your time billed. If it's greater than 30 minutes off under 40 hours, so if like they took more than a 30-minute break off 4 hours, that's a big deal. And then overall, if it's longer than that, if it's a 20% variance in how long they were there versus how long they were on the move, we want to question that, right? We want to say, hey, what happened here? That seems odd. Are you giving away time?
See, what I like about all this, and I like about the way you have built this up and implemented this within the culture of the company, is it turns into it not being like a blame game or a micromanagement system, right? It's hey, we want to have an elite team. This is how we're going to learn from it. You know, every great team watches the tape. It's going to be an elite culture within our organization. That's what we need to do in order to succeed and be the best.
Yep. Cash payment.
Yeah.
Cash payment. You want triggers. But yeah, that's what it's all about, is that elite. You know, like I said, I'm a big dummy. I hyper focused on things in life. So when I have problems, I often think of how sports salute it, right? And luckily in moving, it's been able to transition pretty well.
If we look back at this whole process, and someone says to you or myself and says, Steven, look, this was an amazing episode. I love this whole gameplay review. This is so important. We need to implement this within our team. As we wrap up today's episode, what are some of the first 3 steps that someone can do when they don't have the VAs, when they don't have the growth that you have, but maybe they're just at a 3-4 truck operation, but they really want to try to implement this early on as they grow? What are the top 3 things that they need to start doing now so that they can make sure they're having this?
I'll give you 4, because the first thing's silly no matter what size you're at. You need to have a VA. If you're a business owner in general, listen to all of us on podcasts. I'm not the only one. I just happen to have a business in it, right? But you need somebody helping you and looking out for you to grow. If you have a question there or not. But the second thing I'd say is really like your team needs to know that you're not barking. So besides the VA, let them know that this is your culture. Call it the game tape review. I had to find that name But I had to really tell them that I'm not getting on to you. This is part of it. There's 20% we always have to work on. So preach it a little bit before you put it in place and start just going ham where you haven't asked these questions and you do. Ham is a term, I think, from Kanye West out there. But yeah, make sure you're kind of going through that and you preach the what's going on. Secondly, just get something what are your core things that you look for that could help you solve some problems. I started this by going, I just really want customer feedback. Before it hits me on a review, I think I can do a lot by calling a customer and saying I'm the owner and I care. Right. So that's how I started. And then every problem compounded on that where I made this list. So I didn't start with knowing to look for this break time. I had a pain point where I recognized I was losing money that way. So I put my guardrail in that game tape. Right. But yeah, really kind of put your list down. Don't just start tomorrow on that, but don't wait. Just start with the review and build it from there. And the third thing is execution. Like, don't let anybody off of it in the organization. The awareness meeting, as I put in it, is the most important meeting in my organization. The first thing, like, if I know there's suffering going on, if you don't have an awareness meeting, that's it. Put a structure where after dispatch, y'all are just kind of, even if it's you, because it started out as me on a dry erase board just writing this crap down. Have your time for awareness meeting where you're thinking about what just happened to me. Dispatch is such a wild thing that we just kind of execute things. Mark, you've done dispatch long enough that we've all said this ain't worth it. In the middle of dispatch, like, what the hell am I doing? And 5 minutes later, you're tickled. Because you saluted the problems, but you forget about things quickly. So have that time and make that list of what hit me in the face at dispatch. What made me leave my post? Oh, I need to go get uniforms for somebody. Well, let me get uniforms closer to me. All right. And started thinking, use that awareness meeting. So did I hit 3? I know, or 4? What, son? I can keep going.
3.
Yeah. I can keep going. If it's a
it.
2-man operation or your VA, just make sure it's sent to you where you can block it, right? You actually want to see this information. This is what's going on in your org. Everything reactively can hurt you from here.
Yeah. See, and I completely agree with those steps. I think it's always so important, and we've talked about this before, is that once you've done something once, you should write down the second time, write it down the second time. Right. So, yeah, I mean, I can't reiterate enough. I think this is great. I think everybody should really have a game day plan set up within the organization. Whether you just start on the operations side, great. Like, get that fine tuned, get that done. Make sure that your dispatch, your operations, yourself really understand, and the crew and the team have that culture built on, saying not so much that, hey, we're here watching you, but hey, we want you to succeed. We want you to do better. This is how we're going to get better, by fixing those small mistakes. Because,
and we go back to my theory, right, of that whole, our whole lives we're playing sports, right? So a reminder, if you haven't heard that theory we have, but all lives we're playing sports, at least these guys are, and we're getting a whistle blown to us. You're not doing this right. You're not doing this right. You're not doing this right. We don't take that in a sensitive manner. We're just like, oh, yeah, I need to do that. Oh, yeah, I need to do that for the game. And so we're trained like that. And why does that change when we're adults? And so I pitched that off the get-go saying, hey, we're that culture. We are blow the whistle culture. My VAs I'm investing in blowing the whistle so we can all thrive together. We can all be that championship team that executes.
No, this is great. It's so right. Be a champion within your workplace. Treat it like you are the best NBA or NHL or MLB. You want to be the best sports team around. Everybody should be an Olympian within your organization and go for the gold. Really, I mean, you want to get that. You want to get that home run, and the step one: get yourself a VA. And so a company like Ready Rolls, and this is always here to plug Ready Rolls. If you have VAs ready in your place, if you already have VAs set up and you're not implementing something like this, then, maybe sit down with your VA, find out which VAs that you're using. A lot of people just get one for social media. That's great. That's fantastic. That's awesome. Some people get them as an assistant. Some people get them for sales. Some people get them for payroll or the back end. But you want one that is strictly there to help guide this process, to help take some of the weight off your shoulders, your dispatcher's shoulders, and build you this game day, report. So you
They're reminding you how to be that championship team, right? That's exactly what it's about. Get that game tape review, hit that cycle,
get the system in place,
and talk about it every day, right? With yourself. Talk about it every single day. If it's just you, talk about it. Like, what did I just learn? What do I need to work on from yesterday? What's about to beat me up that I can get ahead of? Right? What's about to be 100%. Contagious in my organization, more importantly? Right?
No, this is great. This is awesome, Steven. This has been a fantastic episode. I love talking about the game tape review. I think it's something huge that should be implemented. We don't go to the extreme that you do. I 100% now need to go back to my team and go, this is kind of what we need to start implementing a little bit more, because this is so important for us to grow as an organization. For all those listeners, thank you for tuning in. Share your comments. Let us know what you think. Let us know if you do a game tape review within your organization.
If there's anything you can help me with, add to it.
Jeez. Let us in, shoot us down in the comments, and until next time, stay Movified.
Thank you.
Thank you.